Pokemon Unite has a few special quick battles that rotate throughout the year, one being the mode currently available, Boss Rush, a cooperative game mode in which your 5 team tries to take down 3 hyper-powered bosses. With over 70 Pokemon to pick from, which are carries and which might be throwing? Only one way to find out. Alright, 73 Pokemon is a lot, each with at least 2 different complete movesets to test. This took a lot of effort to figure out, but I can tell you from experience which Pokemon can beat Boss Rush and which are asking to suffer. So let's go over the official Boss Rush Zacian tier list. I figure it's best to start at the top, with the Pokemon that are 100% capable of dealing the damage to win this fight, all the way up to extreme difficulty. The number one best Pokemon you can bring is Garchomp. An absolute menace of auto-attacking, running rapid fire can bring damage numbers up to the 300,000 range. And that's with Potion. Imagine the possibilities with X-Attack. Here's the thing though, and I saw this a lot with Garchomp players. Most Pokemon in this game are their moves. You click your trigger buttons, and that does the most damage. So most of you are in the habit of thinking you need to use them as soon as possible. Garchomp is not that way. If you want to do 200,000 or more damage, you cannot be spamming either of its moves. I've seen it over and over, and it annoys the heck out of me because every moment you are in Dragon Claw or Rush, you are actively losing DPS. Stop it. Run Earthquake to have the fastest move animation and only use either Dragon Rush or Dig when the boss moves to reposition and maintain your auto attack level. Otherwise, just stand near it and auto attack. That is it. I understand in a standard game, you have to move around the board, so you are trained to constantly be in motion. That is not optimal here, for any character. The less you move around, the better everyone's experience will be. I'm not kidding. Find a spot where you can land all of your moves as whatever you are, and only move when an attack would hit you. Otherwise, don't go anywhere. You got me? No other Pokemon can challenge Garchomp's damage numbers. He is the absolute best. The closest comes in the form of Dragonite with Dragon Dance Outrage. Draggy does use moves to boost his auto attack capabilities, and so long as you don't lunge into attacks, you'll do just fine. Scyther, Absol, and Meowscarada can pull 200,000 plus numbers when they don't get targeted. This is very important. An optimal team will include at least one of what I will be referring to as a face or anchor Pokemon. These are mons that can take hits and keep bosses from KOing your squishy damage characters. The top face Pokemon are Lapras and Slowbro, with specifically these movesets. You can swap Surf on Slowbro, but I don't recommend it because
the less you move around, the better everyone's experience will be.
I want you to learn more than just what Pokemon work. This mode is about skill. Having a good Pokemon will only get you through intermediate. Back to these 3. Note I said Scyther can do 200,000, not Scizor. Scizor works fine for intermediate gameplay as it falls in some skill required. The problem is it does significantly less damage than either Scyther build. Absol needs the boss to be as stationary as possible, as Abby's best damage set requires you to land pursuits from behind so it resets the fastest. Meowscarada is a lot like Dragonite, except way easier to die as. Both moves increase auto attack speed when landed, allowing you to dish tons of damage. Espeon and Duraludon are next up, both capable of 200,000 plus damage. As ranged attackers, they have a lot less to worry about than every other Pokemon we've seen so far. Future Sight gets cooled down when Psyshock pellets land, allowing you to easily chain the moves together while still using autos. Done properly, Espeon can deal nearly as much as Garchomp in longer battles. As Psyshock and its Unite both contribute heavily to stun, Espeon is the #1 attacker Pokemon for this mode. When playing Dragon Pulse, Duraludon puts little blue markers on an opposing Pokemon, followed by a swirling ring as it lands autos or Stealth Rock. These markers will do significant damage when hit by the wave of Dragon Pulse, which is a hold move. The next workable damage dealers are Glaceon, Cinderace, and Decidueye. These three do close to 200,000 damage, but aren't consistently hitting that metric. Glace is the most flexible, being able to freely move while using Icicle Spear. Simply build crystals using Ice Shard, then launch them with Spear at 8 crystals total. Easy gameplay. Decidueye is where I see the most issues with players. Razor Leaf is the best build for boss fights, hands down. However, this character's ability Long Reach increases damage at distance. The farther you are, the more you will do. The number of Decidueyes losing DPS by standing next to a boss is baffling. Back up. Get your better damage numbers. Unless this is happening, there is no reason for a Decidueye to not be at its optimal distance. Cinderace is a mixed situation. Pyro Ball is an aim move with more damage, but can be difficult to use depending on your teammates moving the boss around. Blaze Kick is more consistent, but does place Cinderace in the line of moves often. Basically play at your own risk. It's by no means bad, and does good enough damage on all levels, but you'd be better off with literally every other character I've listed so far. Buzzwole, Azumarill, Tyranitar, Armarouge, Blaziken, and Creepy. All 6 of these Pokemon teeter on the line of just powerful enough, each doing around 170,000 damage. These are their optimal movesets. I'm not going to detail how to use these, as they're all pretty well just click the button near the boss as it comes up and you'll be fine. T-Char's Ancient Power is a hold move like Jura's Dragon Pulse from earlier, but that's the only weird move. If you play Blaziken, you'll need to think about positioning a little bit harder, but if you've ever played Blaziken, you already knew that. And that is all of the damage dealers for 100% valid. But there's a couple more Pokemon in this category. I touched on 2 of them earlier. There are 3 more Pokemon that don't do 175k damage, but are worth having on a team. These being Suicune, Wigglytuff, and Mr. Mime. All 3 of these Pokemon are heavy stuns, capable of outputting around 100,000 damage and about 2,000 stun. The more a boss is stunned, the easier it is for your carry Pokemon to exceed their expected damage value. Mr. Mime is by far the best supporter Pokemon, able to cause massive stun damage, plus either lightly healing and buffing a linked teammate, or debuffing the boss's damage. Its versatility is unmatched. Suicune and Wiggly are still solid with these movesets, but they'll never top mine. And that is it. The top tier. The Pokemon to go all the way for mostly free if your teammates don't choose poorly. If you want the easiest time, here's your top 5 Pokemon in order. Lapras. You should live nearly infinitely. Have a potion just in case, but you can even get hit once you have Bubble Beam. It is nearly immortal. Garchomp. Duh. Just don't use Dash unless you need it, and you'll be fine. Espeon. I run Eject to escape moves easily, but you can grab Potion or X Attack to do more than I do. It's the strongest, and you don't have to be close to deal damage. It's great. Mr. Mime. Link is so strong. You'll heal yourself at all times, whatever you connect to. I recommend the boss, as that will help your friends out more than you realize. Dragonite. It's got the bulk that every other attacking Pokemon in this section is missing. Does tons of damage and contributes well to stun. It's an all-rounder for real. Solid Pokemon in every sense. bringing any one of these 5 is always going to provide value. If you can get a group with all 5, you are basically guaranteed to win. You would have to play absolutely awful to lose with this team comp. Moving on to the Pokemon that can absolutely beat Intermediate, but should not be brought to Extreme unless you want a difficult time. The options for Nearly Amazing exist here for one of 2 reasons. They don't do their role well enough, or they lack survivability in Extreme. Snorlax and Crustle do well in Intermediate, providing decent damage and plenty of stun, but they both lack the healing options needed to go all the way. Charizard, Venusaur, Mewtwo Y, Alolan Raichu, Gardevoir, Leafeon, Sylveon, Phalanx, Therian Rapidash, Circuledge, Darkrai, and Zorora all fall short on damage. As a quick montage goes on here for the best movesets for each, I want to talk about why they fail. In Extreme, the 3 boss Pokemon can have upwards of 780,000 health combined, but this number is not steady across attempts, as each boss Pokemon has their own total health pool. The game randomly picks from the 3 options for each of the first 2 rounds, with no set pattern as to what you'll get on each attempt. So people who fight Araquanid Regice will have to deal 42,000 less damage than a group seeing Avalugg Registeel. Using this information, we know a successful team needs to deal damage in the range of a minimum 734,000 for this set of bosses, and upwards of 776,000 damage for these. Again, take all of the numbers I say with a pinch of salt. They are, after all, only estimates, as literally every attempt has different total damages to defeat every boss, altered by critical hits, true damage, the stuns. It's not a perfect measure, but it is close enough. In a solid team, one of your team slots will go to an anchor Pokemon, either Slowbro or Lapras ideally. These do 100,000 damage, so the rest of the team needs to deal 676,000 damage altogether, making each Pokemon's fair share 169,000. If they cannot hit this number, they fall short of being Extreme qualified. All of these don't reach this total. I didn't list Zacian, although it also appears to fall short of its damage, as there's something fishy about Doggo. By our numbers, it should take 772,000 damage to win, but this match doesn't. Our total damage is only 618,562. That's 154,000 less than normal. So what's up? True damage. While we don't know the numbers for boss rush Pokemon, they do have defenses your attack power is working against. True damage ignores these defenses. Zacian and Titar both have moves that utilize this mechanic. We can see from Tyranitar's battle numbers that it also causes a large difference in the needed damage to defeat boss Pokemon, making it difficult to place Zacian properly. I ultimately decided to place him here, as I can't concretely say its damage is high enough. Clefable doesn't do Anchor's 100,000 damage, while Psyduck does deal the damage, but suffers from its mechanic, making it a risky option. If it gets a headache during Behemoth Blade, it is game over. And with that, we have cleared the bulk of the Nearly Amazing category. Our next set I affectionately refer to as Some Skill Required. Pokemon in this zone have one or more of the following problems. Moves that are heavily contact dependent, too little health to reliably survive as an average player, or a homing attack that places them directly in front of boss attacks, likely leading to death. All of these Pokemon deal 80,000 to 100,000 damage when played well. If you've used them in normal Unite battles, by all means play up to Intermediate with any of these, but I cannot recommend them to anyone who doesn't know the character. As such, just setting them up to get KO'd repeatedly, which we all know is not very fun. We are nearly done. Here stand the team dependents. These Pokemon require help. they don't do 169,000 damage. In fact, they don't even make 100,000 most of the time. Some even struggle with intermediate. The easy answer is to just not play any of the characters in this group, as they are severely outclassed by everything above them. But if you really want to, your best options in this section are Alolan Ninetales and Greedent, with about 90,000 worth of damage each. While the acceptable Pokemon are Chandelure, Cramorant, Delphox, Mew, Machamp, Mimikyu, Tinkaton, Dodrio, Umbreon, Blastoise, Trevenant, Eldegoss, and Koopa. Each can do about 70,000 damage, making them solid enough for intermediate play. Everything else here, ignore it. Act like they just don't exist. You have so many far stronger options. We have reached the end. The bottom of the barrel. Who is the absolute worst Pokemon on this tier list? I'm sure at least some of you have figured it out already. The Pokemon I didn't talk about. The Pokemon that bears the label trash. Don't pick Comfey. You're just throwing. That's it. All 74 Pokemon fully tested and ranked for Boss Rush Zacian. This should hold mostly true for Regigigas, as it's all based around what the Pokemon themselves can accomplish, and not necessarily how they interact with the boss. Who knows though, I could be completely off base, or balance adjustments could make all of this completely wrong. I don't know. The game is constantly evolving, and more mons are added all the time, so I can nearly guarantee a project just like this will be needed again in the future. So subscribe to keep in the know about what's good for side mode. I plan to do this for Panic Parade whenever that comes back, so look forward to that eventually. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a lovely day.